Should make it a little bit easier. Okay, we have a room here. Nice. We end up with that. And this should be start video. Let's see.
Not gonna work.
Yeah, I kind of have to.
Yeah, prop it up.
Yeah. Okay, so for people that are in Boston, come to 156C. We're gathering some folks, so let's give a chance. This is actually a big venue, so I'm sure people are trying to find a room.
It's miles. It's so big. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was surprised. I expected it to be smaller, but this is a massive room. Let me see if I can put something here to avoid having to hold this. Huh? Is it better? Yeah, that's good.
That looks good.
All right, perfect.
High tech.
Yeah, I know we have a few folks that told me they were gonna join, so we'll just give them a chance. And then we have people stacking up. So good. You're gonna take okay.
Yeah, our team, they're waiting for me in Philippines and Russia.
Really?
In Minsk. Philippines and Minsk. They're waiting for my report.
I know you've been very consistent and creating these, and it's great because you give also not only an overview but a little bit of your opinion, which is great.
In there, a little, try to make them interesting.
Yeah.
Try to get people to come to these things.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, Roger here writes those blog posts summary for every cap call. So, and I distinctively remember the one you would for the Basel one because there was a lot of really fun discussions.
Oh, that one was great.
And yeah, so that was fun.
I saw Dr. Jules last night in conference, and we were talking about that. And also, it was last June at Cloud Expo. We had a conversation with Jules and Chip and
yeah.
New York.
Those
are a lot of fun.
It should be fun. I'm hoping he's upstairs. I'm gonna ping him right now.
Yeah.
And
up there. I saw Ken Bears walking in. Come down.
Yeah, so I have 11:04, so maybe one more minute and then we'll get started. One thing we could do also is since we have a lot of new faces, people can kind of introduce themselves and then we can start some discussion. I'm just pinging people to say, hey. Okay, so we have a stock and way incoming. All right, so people are coming. So maybe, I mean, I'm sure they won't need much introduction. Maybe we can start by introducing ourselves, or at least the people that are here. And then folks online, if you want to just briefly mention who you are after we go to the table, that would help, just so we can have an idea of who to ask for. So maybe, Therese, you can start.
Sure, I'm Therese Stoll.
They can't really see you, but
hi.
Hi.
Hello, I'm Therese. I'm a product manager for Box Backup in the Store, and I'm in Pivotal.
Excellent. And you're in the UK.
In London.
In London, yes. All right, and then say that again. Normally. Oh, really?
Like, today.
Oh, today, of course. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you went back and forth from different countries. Okay, Roger, do you want to mention briefly since you're next? Yeah.
And we're also producing our top 100 quotes, and we always do it.
No way. All right.
I'm listening for good quotes. So far, the best one is if you don't have designers, your applications suck. That was from Paul.
I like that. I'd agree with that one too. Yeah, very good. Excellent. So Roger writes those blog posts summary. So. Uh-huh. Nice, nice. There's a whole operation. Excellent. Okay, Jules, you're gonna sit here. All right, so Jules, you're next. Just introduce yourself, say something so people can know who you are. And you're with IBM, but what do you do?
I'm with IBM. I'm project lead for Garden, which is an open source version of Docker. You may have heard of.
Does it work?
And, sometimes. You tell me. And at Autoscaler as well.
All right, cool. Let's go around and then you can be last. It's gonna be fun. Please.
So I'd like to research on faculty. They're regularly attend these meetings, but rarely saying.
Yeah, wonderful. He wants to be next. All right, fine.
I'm next. Yeah. I'm Dr. Nick at Stark Mine, and I don't get to come to these because you put them in the wrong time slot for mine.
Yeah, he's from Australia, if you couldn't guess it. And specifically from Tasmania. He's
I'm from Tasmania.
That's right.
I thought I should live in the state with people.
Welcome. Always happy to have you here. Excellent. All right, next.
Yeah, Stefan Levens, I'm with SAP, and one of
One. Welcome.
and the next Stefan Merker, also from SAP, and also one from
All right, this is the third one. And you know. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, SAP's contribution is amazing. Yeah, this guy is also SAP.
I'm the fourth guy.
Yeah.
Instance equals 4.
Yeah. So I'm leading the multi-apps project that we are right now proposing for incubation in the center.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, cool. So maybe people in the online, if you wanna briefly mention who you are, you have to unmute yourself. I know it's gonna be a difficult thing. I see. Okay, let me call them. So Surat, do you want to mention anything? No? Okay, so maybe we'll skip this. So if you guys want to introduce yourself at some point, or at least when you have questions, just unmute yourself and do this. I can see Danny Berger, which he's the Bosch anchor. So at least I know one. And then we have Patrick Jones, we have Mike Surat, and then we also have Aaron. Okay, so with that, it's actually just open discussion. So anything goes. Let me ask this. So SAP, I mean, this strong contribution, strong presence, everything. What's the thing that's and this is Eric from Pivotal. He leads Diego. So this is all open discussion. I just want to see what's exciting that you want to mention to people that you're doing besides the multi-apps, or maybe multi-apps is the thing. Anything you want to mention that people should go to this week that you're doing? Anything? Yeah?
Actually, it's not so much where people should go to.
Okay.
Much more where I should go to. Actually,
I see.
try to contact all the PMs and discuss
Okay. All right.
challenges with. Usually,
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. But Jules, you have like what, 6 talks?
Look,
Maybe you can tell them why they should come to your talk.
it's portal, office hours, and a track introduction. So it's not even that bad. It's fine.
So which one should people not miss?
I mean, missable.
Like which one is new and like exciting and so?
Well, let me say this. I've got a talk on Thursday, Friday rather, which I think is a very good idea for a talk. It's called Advanced Container Scripts for Java. my little tip is, before you suggest a talk called Advanced Attention for Java, really important to see if you know any Advanced Attention for Java. Because I realized as I began writing those slides, I know zero. I got nothing. So that's been the least fun talk I've ever spent writing. But I think it's quite a good talk now. So come along on Friday and see what is potentially a terrible talk. All good.
So there you go, Java, if you're interested in that. Eric, we didn't get a chance to hear from you. Maybe you can mention like what's like cool that you're excited to see, or maybe something about Zego, whatever.
Well, really, I think the thing that I value most about being here at Summit is getting to talk to all of you and hear in person like your concerns, what you're hoping Cloud Foundry can do for you, what problems you're running into, and how we can solve them. So more so than I don't think I've barely even looked at the talk schedule. I think. So I want to know who's here and who wants to talk about Cloud Foundry.
Nice. So if you want to know anything that's new about Zego, this is the event.
Yeah, so I'm also doing office hours and I have an update talk on Friday morning.
Nice.
Happy to see you there.
Very cool. Anybody has a question? I'll keep asking. So, BBR. Yeah.
It's great to do office hours, and then we're giving an update talk on Friday. So lots of exciting, or sort of, we've been focusing on more coverage, so supporting external blob stores, external databases. And we're also, because the SAP, we're eventually going to look at how to support really big databases. So incremental backups, point-in-time restore, streaming, backup artifacts directly to storage. I know that was something that we chatted about in Basel with different colleagues from you, but that's coming down the track.
Is there any stories of maybe that you can share with us that people using BBR to recover from an environment that started dying or something like this that you can share? Like,
so,
not necessarily fun stories. I wouldn't say fun, but they're not.
So, like, real disaster is really infrequent, but we do have incredible take up on, like, so we went GA in August, and then as people catch up for the upgrade to the version that supports BBR, because the scripts are baked into Cloud Foundry. So it wasn't until PCF 111 that people could start to use BBR. But now that our customers are at that point, they're really like pushing the boundaries of what's possible and standing up, active, passive, and implementing failover and making sure they're using BBR to organize themselves for disaster recovery. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
I use BBR.
Say that again?
I use BBR all the time.
No, I know, but do you have stories like in the trenches?
But I don't play BBR anymore. And most of I was busy playing BBR, but I'm now playing this. Do you have the BBR? I need one. No one likes a physical there. That doesn't help anyone when that happens.
But Stark and Wayne implemented BBR scripts for Concourse. Which is super cool. And they've also
you did Bosch Gen, so if you build anything Bosch Gen that pushes you towards BBR. Sorry, I used to BBR.
Is there a resource?
You know what? I had to hear you say BBR. I completely was focused on this BPM thing. It's pissing me off.
That's why it's going on. So it's not BBR that's failing. Is there a resource or something like this in the internet?
They just figured out how to integrate into the database.
I see.
So I had never quite got around to using BBR in my old test environment. That's when I discovered how Credit Hub database just keep growing. So yeah, beware it keep running. And I saw the PWS, their support status thing that's reported that they've had outages because they didn't see Credit Hub database. So yeah, if you're running Credit Hub, you can keep an eye on it and just, I don't know, every week destroy your database.
I think the problem was around an audit event table growing and outbound over time.
Yeah.
Which was a big problem for Concourse if you're using that to, like, it would write an audit event every time it read credentials.
Yeah, so you get the
Happened a lot. you automate things with concepts.
More pipelines you add, and that event tables is growing. So, hopefully that fixes that soon. I think we're going to move it to outbound logs, ship it to logs, and then it goes to wherever you want logs to go.
Cool. So what, let me ask people that are using Foundry, what, if you had one wish right now, which one would you, like, which wish would you apply? Mike? Because I know you use it, like what would, like if you could just make something happen today, related to Cloud Foundry, obviously.
Well, I don't know. I'm starting to wish that Cloud Foundry and Kubernetes were better integrated.
Ah! So we're back to that point again, but that's good to know. That's good to know.
I'm afraid that, although the users we were talking, I'm afraid that right now, it's great that Kubernetes is there and can be used, and Cloud Foundry is there, and here. But how do you use the two together? From a user perspective, I've seen some stuff on the infrastructure side. But
What would you use Kubernetes for?
well, we have big customers that have use cases that don't currently run on Cloud Foundry. And for example, or not
I'm pretty good at jamming things on the Cloud Foundry side.
so for example, multi.
We have that now.
Well, that's for container networking, not outbound. Or we have a lot of CAT applications to
The heck, you're going to run Kubernetes on the public internet so that. So we just said.
no, not public internet.
Hang on, sorry, you said one of your use cases was an app where they want lots of ports coming in. To the outbound system.
Not necessarily public internet, but system.
Public within your world.
Yeah, within our world, we want to be able to connect to multiple ports.
So you got to put a load balancer in front of lots of ports or.
Yep. And we'll bounce around and listen to messaging ports or
So-
Cloud Foundry is TCP router.
but not in the receiving app.
So is it a feature that's missing, or is it you would like to use what Kubernetes provides and then sort of integrate?
Hopefully coming. It was been talked about. It was there for a little while and then we kind of went away.
Yeah, there's still a secret port field on the V2 app. And this is API.
We have customers right now deploying apps that simply act as a proxy to their other app, right? Which is another workaround and possible solution, but it's a little bit ugly. We have a lot of COTS applications that people need to spend VMs for and whatnot. It'd be nice to have a better solution for that as well.
Can you talk about the requirement to have, like, do you want Cloud Foundry an app? Do they have to be meshed together? Like, what's the requirement that they're?
At this point, I'm not really interested in meshing together. I'm more looking for a unified user experience, right? So one place to log into, organization-wise, make sure that things make sense. Cloud Foundry's got orgs and spaces. Kubernetes has something else, and I'm not that knowledgeable. But from a user perspective, they're two completely different tools.
To the app developer.
Yeah, to the app developer.
I go back and forth with a lot of this because, like, so I very much agree personally that it makes sense to have the same operating system. Like, I think there are two personas, and there should be two personas. There's like the app developer and there's the service provider. And only one of those should care about stateful stuff. And the app developer shouldn't. The app developer is, same as servers, right? Like, I think it's good that servers don't let you run a database to your function. Right? That's a feature. I think that's the same with Foundry. Git push shouldn't let you do that. But you probably need something that does let you do that, which is where CXCR comes in.
So I heard you talk about this last night, and now that I'm awake, there is a shade of grey, right?
Yeah.
Because you can say the database is its own thing, and we don't want to update it all the time. Except we do. We change the schema on it. We want to inject certain things into it. So there is a shade of.
So the thing I said last night was, if you think about where you really want your value to iterate fast, it's really what happens, right? Because that's what you iterate. Once you have a new version that you want to go fast doing, and there aren't that many updates to Redis, right? It's not important that we can iterate fast on Redis. And so I think we get less value in containerization. But it's true, there is that. And I think that it is very true, I think, that you need something to run
is you have this app developer role who's using the CX role. You have the service developer role who's using these Kubernetes primitives to deploy the hardware stuff. But there's also an operator role, which is having to maintain that thing. They're quite different worlds at the moment. That's why I think they're integration.
So I think integration there, but I haven't seen many people address the user role. Right? It would be nice as much as possible to get unified logging and the open source Broker API is getting there as far as from the shared service.
Yeah.
So I think that logging, but also network integration is a big thing. Obviously, you've got the service broker, which is a big win, having that in both worlds. But yeah, all those things. There are a lot of integration points that exist.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it's amazing that it took like almost 10 minutes before we got into the subject. So first point. So I'm happy.
I like how we were all just calmly talking about other things.
Kind of waiting for it to bring up, but
instead of like having regularly speaks to Kubernetes, or just go back to what are the things that CF doesn't have? We got, all right, so you want more.
well, so there's one other point I want to make, which is that I feel I was just building to it, man, making fun. I feel that, and maybe this is me looking at it from a Bosch perspective, that I would treat Kubernetes as just a simple IaaS. If I could do that, then we may be able to get a lot of really good integration, as well as potentially, deeper stuff that you guys are talking about. And the reason I say this is because, like, you look at what Amazon is getting to, and various other companies, they're trying to provide essentially a container cloud, so that instead of running your stuff on say VMs, you're gonna have potentially the ability for you to run containers directly. And what Kubernetes gives you is just a cluster of those containers. So if I can treat it as a small IaaS, then that would be pretty cool. And so there's that approach. Now, of course, there's issues with that, but
so I think there's multiple ways to cover this, and actually it's going to be a combination that will solve this.
maybe.
I think the problem with the kind of CPI approaches is always the danger that you just end up with two problems. Like if you just put one thing on top of the other, even if both things are great, you still have more problems than you had to begin with.
But you have that same problem also if you have them side by side, right? You have two problems. You have to deal with both of them.
The problem is, so the reason why Kubernetes is good versus an IaaS is the features that it provides you above an IaaS. And if you have an abstraction, which can be over both, then almost by definition you didn't get any of those features because they're hidden by an abstraction. All you've done is put a more complicated thing in, and now you have to think there's a number of things that can blow up, I think. And I've got one thing that can blow up, and another thing that can blow up. It's sort of an end by end explosion.
All right. Now think about what's running here, the hardware and so on. Everything could blow up.
Side by side, the risk is effectively additive. Like this thing blows up, and it's more isolated.
Sure.
This thing blows up.
Yeah.
But the error budget is additive there. When you're layering them, it's multiplicative.
I get that part, right? But every layer, every system we build is built on layers, right?
Yeah, but when those layers simplify and add value, you want to be very careful about adding a layer because it looks good in diagram, right?
No. So it's not necessarily because it looks good in diagram. It's because there is value into treating it as another IaaS because it's very fast and it does something for us. You can create them, as many times as you want, spin them up, run them. So I think that's an alternative.
I think the other point you made was that you have to look off the software that you were getting that's effectively designed at this point is packaged to run on Kubernetes. And treating Kubernetes as a potential CPI provider for Bosch doesn't solve that problem, but like has.
No, but what it does is it allows you to take Bosch deployed software, like for instance, those software that you were running on VM before, and run them directly on Kubernetes.
The reality here is if you look at something like this, just convert those into containers. I think you're going to get more out of Kube by deploying stuff that way.
No.
If you want to use Kube, I feel like
well, hold on a second, right? So say for instance you had, I don't know what you guys are running, but let's say you had your Redis release right now running on VMs, right? And what you want is at some point to run them on something like Kubernetes. With a Bosch CPI, all you have to do is the same exact operation that you used to do on VMs, you can do them on Kubernetes. That's it.
Starting from unboxable, so I want to run it somewhere. And
Yeah.
the Kubernetes API makes that faster. And I have some Helm charts, right? And so I need a Kubernetes API to run them somewhere.
Oh, I understand. I'm not saying don't do Helm charts, but if you already had things running through Bosch and operating through Bosch, then with the CPI, you can just deploy, manage them.
That's not a problem.
Say that again?
Why would I do that for a migration period of 1 year?
No, because you still want to run some things on VMs that you still keep doing on VMs. So basically, you now have an option to run them on Kubernetes.
Kubernetes isn't really for me, it's for my customers.
Sure.
I've got Bosch, but they've got Linux that don't work in Bosch. And I can possibly help them or Foundry.
Oh, I'm not arguing that we should move them. I'm just saying that this approach also allows you to essentially migrate and collaborate or get the two integrated with very little effort.
Well, I was just gonna say, again, I'm mostly concerned about the user. I can take care of 2 different platforms and whatnot. I can figure that out, but I can't put that leverage as easily on my customer.
Okay.
I think the CPI, it's not like it's great that the CPI exists, and because the CPI exists, we can write a Kubernetes CPI, and then if someone wants to put it to Kubernetes, great. But I don't think it solves the core problem that people are getting at when they say, "I wish I could have better integration with CFP." Right? It's nice in that it's something we can use from Kube. It's the low-hanging fruit. Some people would be very valuable, but I think it's also a very small part.
Yeah, but
really
so the reason I keep insisting on this is because part of what we'll lose also if we start integrating is the fact that we have 2 communities that are trying to approach similar problems differently and letting people decide versus trying to integrate. And then now instead of 2 approaches, we have 1, less innovation. So that's part of the reason I want.
I think we have a real problem in this community, honestly, because it's such a kind of walled garden. We have really good components that people in the rest of the ecosystem don't see because
and you should expose them. We should expose them. It's not integrating. We should just expose like we did for services.
I think the reason we have this problem is because we have some things that are overlapping that don't need to, and some things that are additive, right? And actually, I think if we share the bits that we can share, it makes it much clearer which bits are actually the value add.
So there's no disagreement here, right? Like, so what you're saying is that, for instance, if we had exposed the service brokers like 4 years ago, then we would have things working on Docker, for instance, right? Way earlier. So I agree 100% with that. And the point I'm making is a different point. The point I'm making is that by integrating the platform too closely and losing the value of when people are using Kubernetes, they have to deal with things like. No, I'm just saying that if we took. No, the open service broker, like to official APIs and so on.
It was always the same API.
Okay, so expose more of the components. But the point I'm making is I'm afraid that by integrating deeply, okay, we'll lose the value that we bring, and they'll lose the value that they bring.
So you used to have this kind of thing of Docker and Kubernetes, right? And they were different. They had different opinions about something, the same opinions about another. Yeah. What wouldn't have made any sense was for Kube to say we're not going to use Docker as the container engine. And actually, because Kube used Docker, which they were competing at this level, weren't being at this level, became much clearer what the differentiation.
Okay, so counter example to yours is Swarm flipping to Kubernetes. They've lost now all of a sudden this value that they were adding, which was Swarm. So it goes both ways, right? It goes both ways.
But I think so honest opinion, I think what's happened is there was Docker, right? Docker is in a lot of trouble now, I think. And the reason for that is that Kube wrapped it and made it so the underlying Docker thing became less important. It was commoditized, right?
But they've lost, and they're wrapping Kube. I get it, but they're losing the value of what they were creating before, which was Swarm. I really think so.
So I personally, I think I disagree with that. Right? What they're doing, they're saying we don't want the conversation to be about scheduling. We want the conversation about UX, because that's what's important.
Mhm.
And therefore, if you've got operators that have Cube and want to use it, go crazy. Or if you've got operators that don't want to deal with that and want something simpler, you saw them go crazy. But what's important is our UX. And I think that's so much more important for CX. Because like for Docker and Cube, there is a much bigger danger because they're really in the same mindset, right? For CX, we're just not in that game. We are about the UX. So why confuse the issue?
Yeah.
If you see what I mean, right?
Yeah, but that's exactly.
Look, you've got Cube, and you want to use Cube as a scheduler. Knock yourself out. Here's how to use Cube as a scheduler. Now let's talk about CX push, because that's the thing you should be doing. That's the conversation.
Yeah, but there's also the operator experience, right? And that's extremely important. But hold on a second. No.
It's amazing. I would think that we could, I think as long as we keep conversation about orchestrator versus orchestrator, and as soon as you release CFCR, right, we've sort of said to people, we know how to deploy one of those and make it work. And so we're already doing it. We're already telling people we know how to do it, right? So the value out of CF can't be orchestration when we have CFCR and Cube has that mind share. And I think good, because it's irrelevant. Like it's just not, look, I work on campaigns, I work on Carter. I'm arguing that we should get rid of it, right? Like, but I don't, like, I think it was very good that we stopped caring about what container engine and orchestrator use. I think it's good. No one knows about Foundry anymore by saying it doesn't use Docker. Right? No one cares. No one, I mean, it's irrelevant. I think that's what's going to happen in orchestration, because serverless hides your orchestration problem.
You're mixing a lot of things here.
And I think there are abstractions which hide orchestration, and that's where the ball's going. And so I just want to get out of that conversation of orchestration.
Hold on, no. This is the notion of saying our friends from Germany creating Mercedes-Benz and you know, BMW should all of a sudden adopt Tesla engine and put it in their car. It's crazy. I think BMW. Well, hold on a second.
Most of them don't make their own stuff. They've got huge global supply chain.
Sometimes, but the best engines, but the best innovation. Yeah, but the argument I'm making is that having multiple ways of, for instance, doing engine is extremely important, because what it does is it creates innovation. That's the reason we're able to have better cars faster and faster.
No, I think it's a different question. The question is the differentiation going to happen in that lane, right? The reason it's commoditized is because they are interchangeable parts of that stage, right? Once every engine is about similar and you're not differentiating on the engine, then you really
I think for us in Foundry, the run C layer was great, because then now you can swap it. That's good. Then we should do that. But that's okay. But then do that. That's cool. But I still think though that there is value outside of this. There's other places where we should maintain the operation model. We should keep, for instance, the tools that we have because they work. So trying to replace that all of a sudden is a problem. We're losing something. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying not to lose these.
Yeah, I don't think we should get rid of it. I wouldn't. I'm not talking about replacing. I'm saying a lot of people already have to. A lot of people already need to for CXCR or for WISP or OpenWISP or whatever function. And for those people, if we can say,
one second.
you want to use that as a scheduler, go crazy. Here's an abstract, right?
Let's
plug it in. That, to me, the reason why I want to do that is because it stops that conversation.
You can do it. Sure.
I don't want to have
Keep doing. Keep doing it. Let's hold on. Jules, hold on. Let's see.
Actually, what I wish for is stability under load.
Nice.
Because we have some bigger landscapes. Well, I wouldn't say these are big. In terms of cloud, they are, let's say, nearly 500 cells. That's language landscape, I would say that. And here, with the usage of this landscape, we actually have
I would like to have here a more investment
Sure.
area, getting the logs over, getting the carbon data. I
So-
don't have actually real problems with people.
So get the pieces we have working better. Hold on a second. We gotta give it a bit of chance. Hold on.
We are currently investigating the question there on the CDU limits, but that goes to the next level. Why not having scheduling or the CDU involved?
Right.
That seems to be a difficult issue,
Yeah.
but maybe
I think it is a,
actually why the CDU schedule. There could be competition and who knows who wins. I mean,
Yeah.
you can
No, it's a good,
orchestration and the scheduling.
excellent point. Hold on a second. There is a question online. So,
points around
wait.
it. It's also like how much of that is in internal controls, and how much of that do you need to expose to developers or to operators? And that's the really hard part, especially when you're introducing new concerns, is how does that affect existing environments? How does that affect existing applications? Are applications going to fail because of that?
All right. So
that's-
sorry about this, but I think there is a question online. We can't forget there's 5 people. John, did you want to say something? I saw that you unmuted and you were trying to say something. Forgot. Okay, well, sorry. We're back here, I guess. I just wanted to be fair, get everybody a
I
chance.
was just going to say to your point about like that kind of competition. I actually think the best way of having that competition is if you had these schedules side by side. And like so, Swarm, I was talking to Patrick from Docker. They talk to customers and they're like, if you want really tight security, you should use Swarm because we've got lots of features in there that we just don't have in Kubernetes, right? On the other hand, if you've got Kubernetes and you're using it, it's easy to use it, you should use it. I think that's actually a very healthy world for us to be in for a while. If we give people the choice of these things, we say, with Data, you're going to have this tight integration, kind of a much simpler thing. We're going to be able to give you features that you're not going to be able to get in the Kube implementation for a while. You can choose to use that as a scheduler. Or you can use Kubernetes as a scheduler. It might be not have all the features, it's going to be a little more complex, etc. But maybe you already need to use it if you want to go fast. I think that's actually a much healthier thing. And frankly, just positioning wise, I think that makes it much clearer which bits CF is about. The CF is about that push experience of stateless apps and services, not the orchestration.
There is no disagreement here that there are pieces of the platform that we had to build in Cloud Foundry that other people did maybe better. For instance, if you look at routing, there's huge effort that Shannon is trying to push where to integrate maybe with Istio. Part of the reason is not necessarily that Istio is so much better, it's just that it comes with a whole community that are adding tons of value. So trying to integrate that into Cloud Foundry will give us those values. And then maybe it removes the need for a component. So maybe in Kubernetes, you look at the pieces of container orchestration, maybe you add that and it makes it valuable. So I think most people would agree with this, right? Because then you build bigger community. The thing that I always fear when you do those kind of things before it's proven is that you chose a winner before an actual winner exists. And it's problematic because when you do that, you lose the innovation that could have happened if somebody else came up with something new. And that's very important, right?
So this conversation about should we do this has been going for like 2 years at least. And I want to say, I think we've been correct not to for the vast majority of that time. My opinion is changing because I think it is now commoditized. And that's the point where it's like,
well, maybe then it doesn't matter. By the way, you came late. You didn't introduce yourself. So. No, but that's great. That's great. I didn't know that. So
the fact that every single IaaS provider has a sounds like it's commoditized. You made a worthy map. I don't know if you're looking at worthy maps about strategy and like dependencies and technology. The orchestration there has just moved all the way to the right.
Right.
It's been made utility. And so the value is no longer there. And the big providers are going to do it. It's great that you want to make something you can run yourself, or not a provider that's terrific. no longer where the value is. And so chasing that and trying to do that and trying to keep pouring resources into that is a losing game.
Okay, so great that you said that, because I want to also move a little bit to a different subject. So what I asked before, no, but it's great. No, actually, I'll get you to talk. Is your user, you had one wish, what would it be? Besides the one we just discussed, so don't bring this up.
So I was thinking about while we were having this discussion, one thing doctors are going to think is ignoring the supply chain.
What do you mean, man?
Well, I'm trying to sell cloud.gov to various CIOs across the government, and they want to know, okay, how you reduce the scope of responsibility for my teams and my agencies to this part. My customer responsibility is very small, but I don't trust my own teams to handle their responsibility. So how do I make sure that they don't ship the CD in their application? How do I make sure that their application behaves the way it should? They know what it's doing. How do I know that it gets scanned on a regular basis for CD after it ships?
Mm-hmm.
No, because the government's so far behind. I'd love to say that would help.
Would you?
Here's the thing. I think the government is happy with us. It's not anything from 10 years ago. They can't adopt us now, unless it has an alternative source. So they don't like the idea that the government is so shit scared of risk that they will not let customers have this responsibility. Their own teams have this responsibility. They don't want to give it away. But there's things the platform could be doing, right?
Are you asking for tools or
No,
built in the platform?
I'm saying things like, okay, so I'm going back and forth with like, how do you, like, I've been talking to people about this, like, what's the right level of abstraction to integrate when scanning? Like, we don't want to have at the platform layer, there's a tail build path in the chain that actually scans the build drop and says, I don't see any shit. Right? That's actually surprisingly hard to do, the way things are structured right now.
Could you do it with an add-on?
Yeah, exactly, and that comes up too. So it's you want to scan it sort of the drop load that's going to be started. Want to make sure it's clean, and that means clean after the team did something before and had a vendor that's no longer around to build the thing. So we tried that. We did do that. That's been our intern, right? It's like, okay, we'll just repay constantly, and then at least it's come back to the state. So that addresses another point, which is we integrate Falco. I'm actually going to talk about it here. We integrate Falco because we want to have some answer to what Twistlock is doing. A lot of them are using the Docker ecosystem, and they're like, well, Twistlock does all this for us. It tells us if we have bad dependencies. It tells us if we have CVEs. It tells us if the running container does something suspicious. And I look at the page on the Foundry documentation where it's like, here's all hardening, the container hardening patterns, and there's a list. It's like, okay, if you know you're running in Foundry, any app you ship should never try to do something bad with it. And if it does, that's suspicious. So you may as well kill the container, not just do an error, but actually kill the container. So we integrate Falco to do that, and that's like a really basic thing. I think we've done the work. It just needs somebody else to write the rules.
Do you think those could be added through plugins?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. And so when I talk to people being like, okay, so why can't you do scanning as a build pack? And it turns out there's some weird things about the way the build pack chain works, where it's like, okay, you can't have a final build pack because only the final build pack can be the start command. So you're overwriting the start command or you're losing the start command, whatever. Or you get to it earlier in the chain because the drop is not all built there yet. The other build packs haven't planned yet. So all you can do is dependencies like Sneak would work there, like or libraries.io or something like that. It was like care. After the droplet is there, but before it actually is. It's basically a final part of the sequence.
Yeah.
I can't get it.
I think you could probably do it in the CLI. Yeah, you can create a droplet with a CLI.
So that might be why Stephen was saying he thought I needed a CC.
I mean, this is why I told the right back to the
He said he didn't think she was the
the network effects of these things becomes a real problem, right? Like the network effects, right? Yes, all of these tools work on containers, work on images, and we don't. And you can argue droplets versus containers. I think there are genuinely advantages to both, but the network effect is kind of killer.
Exactly. If we had if it's an implementation detail that there happens to be no CI registry in there, then Twistlock has an obvious entry point, and we wouldn't
Okay.
Anyway, to your point, what features do we need? At least in government, people are still terrified about supply chain, like where the government go through all the supply checks before they reach production. And then the second piece is after it's in production, is to watch for malicious behavior, and that's a good one.
And to be clear, what you're asking for is a comprehensive sort of like series of pieces that are extended, or you could do it.
Around it right now, and I think what Steve's suggesting in terms of making part of CC API, that there's some out to. We can, but they might have already gone to that much. I'm fine with that. Exactly. I feel the same.
And like I said before, they still maliciously change mutate after the start. So you still first want to
Yeah.
take that running process.
Yeah. But we're talking about application security.
What can we do? They have at the moment. So number one is the content tracking. The fact that things content tracking, you can't run kind of like it's sharp together. But the second thing is that they do have things like signs and layers. You still have mutate containers. Well, actually, no. I mean, Scout's running. You can have a single container. So you can package it.
You could do is that's what documents, right? Because documents can do things like you can say this directory should change up. And somebody tries to there.
No,
I'm much worse person.
it's a free open.
The container needs to be rerun. Like, if you start a container, then unstart drop, right? It has to be rerun. If you create an image with a document, then you can start that as we go. But it's just impossible to change that when you start. Then you just have scratch space. That's much nicer model.
Yeah, there is somewhere on my container that I'm trying to upload malicious thing. I know why that happens. Whereas I saw it with some of the mothers, there was a white rabbit hacker, and apparently she could use that phrase in herself. But if I'm trying to malicious, I mean, I can have an app that's uploaded that then downloads and injects into a writable space another executable and then starts running.
But the other thing also is to use maybe, like for instance, a CI environment to help, right? So if you're using Concourse, add a layer in there that's checking before it goes.
We tried. So the deal there is that we're dealing with a bunch of agencies and they don't have control of this yet. And solving that's much bigger problem than solving the limit problem, which is what they want to be common, they don't care about. They would prefer to be common. The CI layer, they're just not there yet. We're just much further into the culture. And we can't bootstrap it.
So put the security right before it actually happens.
No security, one layer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You want to know this as a developer. You don't want the ops people sending you a nasty email saying, you know about
I hear it.
You want to find out as soon as you commit. But I mean, the CIO cares about.
All right. So probably layers. All right. Let me give the people online a last chance if they have questions. Well, partly because, I mean, you know, I feel like if you guys want to say something, all right, then yeah, let's keep going. Nimesh just walked in. He's from IBM. We just introduced everybody, and then you're a provider, so I don't want to, you know, see. Well, IBM Cloud. Yeah. So who else has a burning? Who else has a burning comment or question or something? Maybe you want to plug your multi-apps or something else you haven't spoken at all.
Actually proposed a session, got rejected, but we finally get demo curator, so we are.
I see. So you paid and then you gotta talk. Okay, that's good.
So anyway, the model is
It works, man. But yeah. Welcome to capitalism. To capitalism, right? Dr. Nick, you've been quiet. I mean, you've been responding to some stuff. Like, what's new? What's interesting that you're talking about? I saw you have a Kubernetes, Bosch.
So in my mind at the moment, there's a big lesson for people what they liked about this new Bosch, and sort of putting together a blog post and talk to this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
the Kubo team has sort of gone down a path of their end user is someone who doesn't have Bosch, doesn't know what it is, that's their goal, right? Unfortunately, the path they took meant they also didn't care about the other use case, which everyone at this conference already has Bosch.
Yeah.
They're not really allowed to use it, is how you might interpret their behavior. It's like, there's nowhere where it starts with. So you've already got Bosch, now you do next. So the work I did last year was to sort of refactor all their manifests, start that story. And then, because they were giving a talk, and I realized they still haven't finished that work. So I had to sort of full set of deployment manifests. So I've got to have a pipeline to pre-compile all their releases, create my manifest. I think so if you come to my project, that will always work.
Nice.
Until they go one over.
And how's the book going?
Where
do you have time to do all those things? Anyways.
So for anyone that doesn't know, I maintain two sort of online things. One is the Concourse tutorial, which people seem to like a lot, and then even the Concourse people themselves just refer to that as like the getting started and learning. And then the ultimate guide to Bosch, which will never be finished, but I think the part that I wrote, which comes from the stance, which I don't see any documentation sort of assuming, which is you've just been put in front of Bosch. It's already running. What happens now? What is my job?
Sure.
And so instead of saying, he's saying start Bosch, he's saying get started, and it says, you've already got one running. Let's learn how it works. You've got something running, you've got a Bosch, now let's start playing with it. And so we go into the middle of it and expand that.
I thought you were going to have a media tool.
A video.
A media tool.
A media tool, right?
Yeah, like, so that's part of the reason I asked. Anyways. All right, we have 7 minutes left. Okay. Good.
I'm just talking more to non-technical higher-level people because I take my hat off and put my suit on. And so a lot of this conversation with them, it sounds like we having sort of a prescriptive versus descriptive conversation. And you use the word fear. You really have this fear that if things are done, say, too liberally, that there's sort of an existential crisis.
I wouldn't say that. So I come from a research background where I think innovation is what drives everything. And innovation means you have the freedom to create something. So once you start putting constraints, it also is good. But in the case of where we adopt things, we all of a sudden said, oh, we can't no longer innovate in this space because they've done a better job. Now, sometimes that's exactly right, but sometimes you lose something. And I'm afraid of that. That's what I'm afraid of. Right? Maybe. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not.
I'm not arguing you should go back to the world map. You should make a world map of the community.
Sure.
And decide where does it make sense to put it.
Right.
Because it's going to change over time, right? You're talking about it as a static principle. Like, okay, if you adopt something, you cut out innovation.
Potentially.
Point the life cycle for certain things, maybe that really makes sense.
Right. I really like your point, though, what you're saying about the map. So maybe we should chat, because I think it makes sense, right? This is like, instead of just deciding. Huh? Right. No, but if you, let me ask you this. As an action item, did you do one? Can you share? Oh, okay. I see. Right.
Where's the value? And as long
But
as you focus on the value, you're going to be fine.
Sure.
And that's one thing Docker is really well. If Docker is a valuable thing to customers, and it's not a big deal to just look up and know, yeah, we can run it. And that ends the conversation, because then it goes back to value.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Bye.
So, yeah, but then from 2 years ago, but just as in politics, things can change really dramatically and unexpectedly. Some people, the same thing seems to be happening here. Nobody expected this patching position, but it sounds like you have it. And I'm hearing both sort of argue that, or say that, well, yeah, this is happening and we should be very practical and realistic. And we're hearing, well, the customers are driving this, and we should do that. And then I'm hearing not necessarily in opposition.
this sort of existential, wait a minute, why are we doing this? It's going to do more away.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Let,
You'd like to see a push experience, so to speak, right?
No, I-
Those two and then get on board.
I want for my customers to get value without using.
I think that's most people are going to want both. Given that, it kind of makes, given that we're going to have to maintain food, which frankly wouldn't be right. Like I still feel like anything with SCB in it is not something I really want to maintain. But whatever, like we're going to have to do
Someone has
it.
to fix that.
We're going to have to do it. Right. We're going to have to solve that problem because people need that in them.
I don't think they need it. They just use it. But that's okay. Anyway, let's. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
To run an SUV operator or a medius operator
Right.
or
Right.
a
What's it useful for?
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that.
That's going to be a separate conversation. But
it'll boil humans off the planet.
all right.
Just swear.
It's a land race, of course. All the land will be on fire.
That's right.
It's a gold rush.
With no gold.
Or like a bunch of Russia. But the guys who sell the shovel make money. That's the thing. The gold miners,
So Roger, now that you open blockchain, let me close with this. I think Eric said something at the beginning that is so true, worth repeating, is that we're here because we can chat, right? You can talk to people. So feel free to do this. And with that, we'll close the cap call. Roger is going to have a nice report for us, so that's always a nice thing. It is being recorded. I'm going to stop it now. No. I think report your perspective on it. Anyway, well, thank you for coming. That was fun. Cheers. Bye.